Hello, Vietnam brokers and customers, and all of us. Today is a great day. It's a beautiful day in Seattle, Washington, where our headquarters of the Regional Center and Modern Living Company. We're here in the studio with Mr. John from U.S. Asia Pacific EB-5 Regional Center. It's on my left hand side. And then, I have our longtime friend and one of the great business attorney, immigration attorney, Mr. Kantren from the Las Vegas area. So, John, say hello to our audience.
Well, we're really glad to be here. This is a good time. The Regional Center program is up and running again. And we're very glad to be able to present to you today a little bit about what's going on in the Regional Center program, and especially here with U.S. Asia Pacific.
Thank John. John?
Yeah, I'm very excited to introduce myself and be a part of the team here with Michael Lai, who has some considerable experience in this area, along with Mr. John Stiver, the Vice President of the Regional Center here. So we're really excited because we had a very positive legal outcome in a case against UCIS recently that has really opened up the opportunities for foreign investors to be able to take advantage of the EB-5 program once again. So it's a very exciting time, and we're very excited to be here with you today.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Khan. Thank you, Mr. John Stiver. Yeah, it's truly is a great time to jump back into the EB-5 Regional Center program. And you already know that the trade war with China that started in 2017, that lasted to now, that taking out the China market for a few years. Last 2020 to 2022. Up until first of this year, we still have the challenge with COVID and travel restriction, which make it much more challenge. So so it's truly it's a great weekend for the EB-5 Regional Center program after the judge ruled out that the that give the reauthorization for the regional center to operate again, right? So the little bit about this amazing, great program. It's called the Great Foreign Direct Investment Program into the U.S. The program was established back in 1990 by U.S. Congress, and it's so back that has been 30 plus years. It's been around for a long time. And it's be able to make a great positive impact in the community development that creates many jobs and opportunity for our U.S. worker, as well as getting the U.S. visa and green card, American citizenship for a lot of our immigrant investors. So the Regional Center program were reauthorized again back in the May 15 of 2022. Right, and so we got some hiccups, some legal challenge there that we be able to put that behind us now, and officially started yesterday. We see the 25th of June. All the I-526, all the foreign investor, they're starting to file the application again. So. So as you know that we're making this announcement back in March 15 that the president that signed it into law, right, after it passed the Senate and also passed the U.S. Congress. So this is good for May 2022 to May 2027 program. So a little bit about the program. It's all about creating the JOB, creating the job. And we're going to be able to help out a lot of company builder and developer, and creating a lot of jobs right here in the United States, as well as helping the investor obtaining the U.S. citizenship. John can from the regional center. So he can elaborate and touch base a little bit more on that.
Well, the EB-5 program is exceptional in that it tries to create jobs in America, in communities. And we take an investment from the investor, we give them a 3% preferred return, and then when their visa is made permanent, they are given their money back with interest. And it's just a great program. It's good for the country, it's good for the community, and it's good for the investor. So it's a win-win-win, and we're just very excited to present this project and these programs to our investors.
Thank you, John. And of course, when from the regional center point of view, we have extended and expanded our project in terms of investment and development. So not just the project by itself, but be able to bring in a great team. Success project is all about bringing good team, good people that are working on the project, and from the beside business law and immigration law services, Ken is also helping with the our immigration lawyer and team up and providing a premier services, in terms of legal services for our client.
Correct.
Right? And then on top of that, we also bring in great security attorney that really working on the offering document and PPM and all the legal docs that comply with the USCIS. So we not just bringing a great project for the investor to get great return and getting the U.S. citizenship, but we also bring in a good team to work on it. Also, every project that we have, that come up with their business plan, then in terms of how many jobs that will be, how many indirect jobs that will be created for each project, and the positive economic impact for the project that bring into the community right here in United States. So we welcome back a lot of you guys, in Vietnam, in Asia, and a lot of people that wanted to get permanent residency, by getting your permanent employment-based visa, right? So that's a visa conversion program. So if you can talk a little bit about that in terms of what would be the value that you can, for an existing somebody holding an H-1B visa or the student visa that have an opportunity to
Right.
to get to get a permanent green card.
Correct.
Right.
Right. So the pathway to residency and citizenship in the U.S. comes in different forms. Traditionally, some of those aspects have been through like programs such as the H-1B visa, which are company sponsored. So, for example, large employers who want to retain and recruit top individuals in a specific industry, those companies will stand out as the sponsors for those individuals, those employees. There's student visa base, but there's limitations on those particular pathways because for one, H-1Bs it's a limited time frame. It's not permanent. Student visas are really temporary, only for the duration of this time the students are actually in school and completing their education. Once their education is completed, then it's a return back to their original country of origin. So the more permanent avenues and the one that's more in a way valuable for an investor is through a business visa such as the EB-5. The EB-5 creates a pathway to permanent residency for investors who are willing to invest a certain amount into the U.S. economy, and the U.S. is receptive of that and they want to promote it because we are a country that is built on immigrants and immigrants investing themselves, their own labor capital, financial capital now into the country to help build this country up. So it's very, it's very beneficial to both sides, not just to the U.S. economy, but to the individual investor as well, because then they have a virtually guaranteed pathway to permanent residency and eventually citizenship here in the U.S. You want me to go over any of the requirements for that, Michael?
Sure, can I appreciate that. That's great. I'm sure that's great information that all of us wanted to know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for the parties who've joined us who are familiar with EB-5 and how the project or how the program works, I apologize for kind of regurgitating some information, but for the ones who are a little bit unfamiliar, there's some basic requirements for EB-5 applications and investors, and the primary one is that as of right now, the minimum requirement for an EB-5 project is $800,000 into what's called a designated regional center. And that's been approved by USCS, which the program here, our group has a pre-approved regional center in place already, and it's been in place, and it's a proven project here already. That money, that investment dollar, has to come from legitimate sources, and that will be documented and verified through the application process. The investment itself, now this is the important thing for U.S. Immigration Services and the U.S. government, is that it must create 10 full-time positions and into whatever type of business. The most efficient way is obviously through a regional center, because we have projects that will easily create those positions, and we'll be able to support those positions to be sufficient to qualify for the application. Now, the process and timing, so you have to go through an application process, obviously, and that's initially about a 6 to 8 month process from the time that the initial application is submitted to the time that you get an approval for that application, and then from there we can obtain for you a temporary visa and a temporary green card. Basically, it's a 2-year green card, and then once that 2-year process is up and you verify, in which the regional center will support that application in verifying all the information, then that will convert. We can remove the conditions and convert that to a permanent green card or permanent residency in the United States, which will then be your pathway to citizenship here in the United States.
That's what a great information, Kan, that you sharing with our audience, our investor, for today's program. And as I mentioned, the program has been absent for a while. The last 2+ years is COVID, and either from the U.S. we couldn't go to Vietnam, or any investor from Vietnam or from Asia that couldn't come to the U.S. Right? So the new program with the concurrent filing, right, John, from the regional center. Can you share with our audience about what the benefit of coming to the U.S. with a different visa and make a conversion? Yeah.
Well, I also want to talk about this program is a family program. So if an investor comes in, their spouse and their children under the age of 21 also are part of this program. They get their temporary visas and get their full-time visas. The other thing that's extremely important is that the children, when they go to college or school in the United States, come as if they were U.S. citizens. They don't pay the foreign rates that a foreign student would pay, which makes this entire program much more profitable for anybody to come into the United States if they want to send some of their children to the United States for college or for other education purposes. Also, if you have an H-1B visa, or you are here on some other type of visa, if you put the money into the program, the $800,000, you are able to concurrently or at the same time become a member of the EB-5 program, and therefore get your temporary then your permanent visa through this program while you're on the other program and still in the United States.
Thank you, John. And part of the regional center program is we wanted to select the best project that make sure that our project is feasible, and make sure that the project that located in the geographic that located within whether the TEA, target unemployment area. And John, can you kind of, you run this regional center program for a while, and looking at what, in order to get all the USCIS required for the EB-5 project document, the goal is for our team is to help the investor, not just getting the U.S. citizenship, getting the visa, getting the green card, but the project requirement for the USCIS. Can you touch base on that? What are the components that you really looking at the project when we bring the project on board and present it to our investor, John?
Yeah, when we start a project, we talk with the developers and we make sure that there's a feasibility study. We make sure that there's a good, strong construction budget. The pro forma is good, and the market comps for that particular project are good and solid. Then we create, with some of our subcontractors, a matter of whole business plan and a solid economic report that generates the numbers that prove to USCIS that we have 10 full-time jobs or full-time equivalent jobs for each investor. So then we've got the offering memorandum, the offering docs, the loan docs, the subscription agreement, and the immigration documents to make sure that the entire package is legitimate and sound, so that the investor really doesn't have to do anything except file, send the money to the regional center, and then let the attorneys know where the money came from.
That is great, right? That is great that we make sure that we do a very, very good job from the regional center in terms of doing a lot of legwork, a lot of due diligence on the project, and make sure the project is safe and sound. And so when investor filing, they're gonna we put them into a path of successful.
We have a lot of people that come to us that want to be JCEs. They want to be their project. They want to be supported by the EB-5 program.
Right.
We make sure that we pick the best ones and the ones that we feel are sound and solid before we'll accept them into our program.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of the things from a lot of people will migrate to the U.S. The first thing that they're looking for is, well, we need a roof on our head, right? We need a home. We need to purchase a home. And with the regional center program affiliate service, that we will be able to assisting and helping the foreign investor to own a home in the U.S., right? Yeah. And also working over many decades, with the U.S. lender providing 70% with a very low interest. Of course, interest rate have changed in the U.S. in the last 2 weeks. In term, but still pretty very competitive mortgage that providing for the foreign buyer. John, you wanted to touch base a little bit on that in terms of you have been working with our lender. What are one program that we think, that buying program that we can provide for the buyer right now coming from Vietnam to the U.S.?
Yeah, several of our mortgage companies are doing 70% loan to value. So as we provide houses that we are building currently, we can allow somebody to put 30% down and be able to be a homeowner in the United States.
Yeah, that is great. And I think that besides, the premier legal immigration services and a great project that do a very good job of due diligence, make sure that the investor get in the project, achieve what they want, which is like get a return on the investment and get U.S. citizenship, and make sure the project is built and create American job. Also, we look at the affiliate service in terms of getting money, getting the mortgage for the investor to buy home and own home and live in the United States, and so the net thing that I wanted to talk about this program is that with the new law right now, every broker that receive the commission from the regional center at the broker dealer, get certification, right? Mm-hmm. So from ML University that agreed to provide in the certification program for the broker, and we be in Vietnam starting the July July 1st to July 10, and we providing 4 different training for the broker in Vietnam that be able to get certification to do that, and so that also very important. There are 2 million Vietnamese in the U.S. and we live in this area here in Seattle, and we have the 4 largest immigrant group. The first, of course, would be like Vietnam. Vietnam have 2 million people in the U.S. Also 265,000 Vietnamese that reside here in the state of Washington. And then we have Chinese community, and we also have East India community that working for many high-tech industry here in California. But there's a lot of we have Filipino community. So the pathway that create a pathway for the investor to come to the U.S. Through our regional center. As you can see at the back of it, it's a regional center program, and the modern living investment opportunity that allow the investor to invest into the fund that go through a regional center. So that's a good program. John, you wanted to elaborate a little bit on the fund that we have here that helping in get obtaining U.S. citizenship?
Well, the best fund right now is we're working with a developer down in Southern California, and we are presenting a program that allows you to come to the United States and help create jobs in Southern California.
That's great. That's great. Thank John. A little bit about myself is that, I mentioned, I shared with all of us in the past is that, I came from Vietnam. I went to China back in 1989 during the Tiananmen Square, make my way to Hong Kong in the winter of 1989, stay in the refugee camp from Sha Tin to Tai Châu in Hong Kong from 1990 to 1992. Finally, I got admitted by the USCIS. Back then, a different agency, the old USCIS, and got admitted to the US. Started my new life in Seattle since 1993. We started real estate back in 1998, and during the course of 24 years in real estate investment, development, and immigration, I be able to serve the community with over 3,000 clients and customers, right? So this is not really something that really new, but it's some, we're using the existing service company, and the immigrant investor program has been going very strong in the late of 2000 up to now. That now it's a great 5-year program that we work together, bring in a good team, good project, and bring it to the people like you that need it to have the pathway to enter the United States. So then I met with this guy right here, John Stiver, that has been helping tremendous, with the customer from the regional center. John, you wanted to share a little bit about yourself with our audience?
Well, I met Michael about 3 years ago, and we've been working together since then. I specialize in some of the corporate structure and the corporate documents that need to be made to make sure that everything's legal, and I work with the attorneys to make sure that all of our documents fulfill all the requirements for USCIS and for the other agencies that we deal with on a regular basis. It's just been a real pleasure to work with Michael.
Thank you, John. And we'll continue to bring a premier great service with Kantran, the great lawyer. We like to, a lot of people, they gonna wanted to know, this is, for us, it's something that we do, repetitively,
Correct.
Yeah, time and time with this program. But so what are the EB-5 program, right? Time to go back to the basic and talk about what is the EB-5 program, and I'm going to talk to, I'm going to have our attorney Khanh to, talk about
Sure.
that.
Michael, I think it's important that people understand that the EB-5 program, as beneficial and valuable as it is. I mean, it is a limited program. People need to understand that there are only 10,000 visas that are issued under this program annually. And as John had pointed out earlier, one of the main benefits and the value of pursuing this route compared to some of the other immigration routes is that not just the applicant or the investor receives their permanent residence here, but also their immediate family members. So that means their spouse, their children, unmarried children, and it opens up that pathway because there's a lot of families overseas who likes to have their children come to the U.S., obtain a U.S. education, and the traditional ways is, although there's other ways of doing that through the student visa program, those are limited avenues and very costly as well. Well, here, then the investor and the applicant and their immediate families benefit right away through this program as well. And, Michael always talks about the team effort here. I just wanted to mention that, because of their extensive experience, both Michael's experience in real estate, since he's came to the U.S. basically, John's extensive experience in real estate financing and putting together regional centers. There's a saying in the U.S. that if you want to do something fast, you do it by yourself. But if you want to do something and go far, you have to do it with a team. So when you're exploring investment opportunities, you should look for an established team with the experience, with the passion, with the drive, and the structure in place to make that process successful. And that's the goal of here for Michael, John, myself. And so that's what we hope to bring to all the potential investors as well and their families.
Thank you, Khan.
Yeah.
And John, in terms of the limitation, the program per annual that allow for the investor and the quota for each country, right? You want to share a little bit about that?
Well, it's a little complicated, and I don't know that it's part of what we really need to talk about, but each country's got a certain number of visas that they're able to produce for each country, and if they're not used by one country, they can kind of slide to the other countries. But for all intents and purposes, it's a good program and it works well. And it takes a little bit of time for some of the countries. China, for example, had a lot of visas. There's a little bit of a backlog. Vietnam has a little bit of a backlog. But because of COVID and because of the way that the USCIS has worked in the last year, I think that a lot of those time frames have shortened up.
Do you distinguish between the EB-5 direct investment and EB-5 indirect investment?
Yeah, there are two programs. The EB-5 direct investment is one project for one investor for 10 jobs. Those have to be direct jobs and they have to be documented as direct jobs. The indirect program allows an aggregate, a group of people together to create maybe 70 jobs or 80 jobs in one project. So you can have a large project, maybe a hotel, maybe an apartment building or something like that, where the direct program is very specific to one job or for 10 jobs for one project. However, the direct program doesn't have a backlog at all. So if somebody is interested in going into the direct program, we do that as well here. We've got some really good programs that we use. A franchisee, we used the Crunch Fitness program, and we can create a Crunch Fitness Club for one investor for 10 jobs. And that is actually very quick. We've had some people that have received their temporary green cards in less than 6 months.
Excellent.
So it's a very, very quick program where the regional center might be a little longer, but it's a little bit more stable.
Correct.
I want to add, thank John. I'm pretty sure that we appreciate this information, and that we come together today sharing this great golden nugget, to a lot of us here listening to the program. An experienced, attorney, a lot of us wanted to know about the basic. What is the requirement for the program? that someone can enter into this
Sure.
program? What would it take to do that?
Sure.
Right.
And you know, we made a little bit of mention it at the beginning, but the basic requirements under the EB-5 program is that, again, the investment required, the minimum investment that's required right now is $800,000, and that can go, and that's into a designated regional center. Again, regional center is a pre-approved, it's an approved project, such as the project that we have here, that foreign investors can put their money into and kind of aggregate the number of investors in there, the number of jobs that are created, but the basic requirement is $800,000. Now that money again has to be documented from a legitimate or legal source. Okay, so it can be that goes through a very strict verification process during the application itself. We need to document source of origin of those funds. Verify that with USCIS in order for that application to be approved. The investment itself, again, needs to, and John had mentioned this already, does have to create 10 full-time jobs, either direct or indirect here in the United States. So that is one of the crucial aspects of the program, is that whether you take the direct route or the indirect route, 10 full-time jobs must be created. The source of funds or the investment itself has to be what's called at risk, meaning that this is above and all else, it is an investment, and the investor needs to understand that, you know, the investment is at risk. But because of the extensive experience that's involved with our group here, we mitigate that risk as much as possible, and at some points actually eliminate near 100% of that risk to make sure that this process is successful for our investors. Okay, and one of the important things for investors is a lot of investors sometimes they want to invest, but they may not have any specific experience in the particular business that's being created. Maybe they're not experienced in the real estate development. But the EB-5 project, one of the neat benefits is that there is no requirement for day-to-day involvement for that investor, meaning that this is a purely passive investment. The investor puts out the funds to invest into the project. They go through the application process. Once it's approved, then the investor retains the benefits or obtains the benefits without having to be a part of the day-to-day activities that are related to that business.
Wow, lots of great information coming from a very experienced attorney that share a lot of this golden nugget, that we can learn from in terms of, get involved with this great immigrant investor program, and I wanted to add John from the regional center about in terms of, the money for investor. A lot of us will invest to get immigration. We want to come to America. And John, what the benefit to come to America? And then if you're going to have to put money at risk per requirement by the U.S. government, can you elaborate, talk a little bit to us about that?
Well, I was going to bring that up, so I'm glad you asked. When a traditional development project starts, there's an equity stack. There's an amount of money that the developers or the investors have to put together, and then they borrow money to make sure that the project is built. When you do that, money can be tight, because it's tight to know how much money you actually need to build the project. When we introduce the EB-5 money, we drop down the loan to value, which allows the project, in case something weird goes on, that project can borrow an additional $10 or $15 million and make sure the project gets completed. And because of that, there's very little risk to the individual that their project will not be completed.
Great. Thank you, John. And Khan,
Yes.
From an experienced attorney, can you share with us about being a passive investor? What did that mean by a passive investor? That in your that you wanted to advise us on that in terms of activity and involvement in the business.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And this kind of touch points on the issue of whether an investor wants to pursue a direct investment through the EB-5 program or indirect investment. So when we're talking about a direct investment, that means that the investor wants to open and operate and own their own business. So, for example, let's say an investor already has a business overseas in their country. Then they want to open a second location here in the U.S. Well, then that would be considered direct investment because they are operating their own business, they're operating their own brand, so they will be responsible for the day-to-day activities, and they will be responsible for making sure that that business becomes ultimately successful in order to support those 10 jobs that has to be created. Versus an indirect or a passive investor. Now, those investors get all the benefits of the program, meaning that they will obtain the pathway to permanent residency, pathway to citizenship for themselves and their immediate families, but with the benefit that, regardless of whichever business model that they're investing in, they have a team behind them that is supporting them. They have a team behind them with the experience and the knowledge of operating that business to ensure that it's successful, to mitigate all risks that are involved with that particular business. And the investor passively obtains all the benefits that goes along with that. So that's the crucial difference between passive and an active investor, and investors who are choosing to do either direct or the indirect route through the regional centers.
Well, I want to also add that we have a direct program that does not require direct.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Direct involvement in the program.
Yeah.
So we will do whatever is best for that particular investor at that particular time to make sure that they are protected.
Excellent.
Thank you. That's a great information. A lot of it, we're gonna want to, cut right to the chase. We see like the process, the timing, John, you want to explain to us a little bit about that?
Well, the I-526 immigration program, the petition starts 6 to 9 months after everything is started. So when you decide you want to do something and you start to talk to the attorneys, it takes about 6 to 9 months before everything gets filed and ready to go. And at that point, that's when your $800,000 needs to be invested into the company. Then there's an application that takes another 9 to 12 months, and the temporary green card is produced and given to the families. And then about 18 months after that happens, after the family has come to the United States, then they apply for removal of the conditions and they're able to get a permanent green card.
That's great. That's great. And the of course that would be when investors get to that path, they guarantee getting the U.S. citizenship.
Right, and they get their money back with a 3% preferred return.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not they don't pay for their visa. It's an
Right.
investment program.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's not.
Yeah. So, we opened the federal government, the bill passed through the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Senate, and the president signed into law in May 15 of 2022, because of the restriction, and we came in now from COVID, that really we didn't have any number in terms of look at the percentage of the immigrant investor that filing with the USCIS, but looking at the statistic prior to COVID, right? So that 2019 we also see still 31 out of 100% people investor that filed with the USCIS. Of course, John, we have India coming in at 31%, and that's understandable. It's a 1.1 plus billion people from India, and they are coming here. They come to the United States to be on H-1B visa as well, or the E-2 program, right? But that's significant investor amount. Second, we're looking at China. Out of 100% of total investor, we have 15% that people coming from mainland China. But the Vietnam, where that 97 plus million population that coming in at third, we see the 10% out of 100%, right? We also have the number from Taiwan coming in at 5%, and South Korea also coming in at 8%. We got Macau and Hong Kong each coming in about 1%. So because U.S. Asia Pacific Regional Center would target a lot of our customer that we help from Asia. So we just let you know that now the program open for the 5 year. We're gonna be at your marketplace. We started in Vietnam, and then we also helping the investor from China as well, India. Also, of course, we're coming to Taiwan and also Hong Kong and South Korea, expanding our program that bring in great team, great product, great services, to you and helping your client to come to the United States, right? So the Vietnam and China right next to each other, but in terms of investment into the U.S., we're complete over 17 EB-5 investment fund in Seattle, Washington, right? So we still have 5 more fund that we do, right? Of course,
today.
Right, today. Today, legally, we can do that with the federal with the case, with the court order.
That's right.
With the court order, we have the president signed the law. Now we have the court order that allow for us to do what we do. So we currently have 3 fund in California, right?
Yes.
John, can you talk a little bit about the Fund 18 and the Fund 19?
We have the inns at Buena Vista Creek. It is really close to San Diego. It is 3 Hilton brand hotels and a parking garage that is about 1.5 miles from the beach. Beautiful location. The hotels are absolutely gorgeous. Take a look at our website and you can see what we're talking about. Take a look at the pictures. The second project is a Fairmont Hotel in Long Beach, California. That hotel is a 5+ star hotel. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's in process right now to be completed within about 1.5 years. And then we have an apartment complex up in the Seattle area, very close to us, 45 stories tall, 44 stories tall. Beautiful, right downtown, next to Facebook and some of the other companies here that are all technology based. It's a beautiful location. So those are the 3 projects that we're working on right now that are right in process.
And John, and Khan, the driveway, we all been in Seattle 30 years plus. Matter Khan, we know each other, family know each other for so long in Seattle. The strong economic growth over here, with this is the home for, Boeing headquarters, Microsoft and Amazon, right?
Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's quickly becoming the second Silicon Valley of the U.S. I mean, technology. Seattle's experienced a record growth just in the last 5-10 years, and that's because of the relocations of a lot of these high-tech companies into the area, and it's really created a very exciting marketplace here and incredible opportunities for investors, not just here locally but outside investors as well, from real estate, from commercial projects, through the whole spectrum of opportunities. So it's a very exciting time in Washington because of that exponential growth that it's seen. So this is one of the primary areas that is very attractive right now to investors.
Yeah, thanks, Guy, and surely giving some good information for the investor that invest into. When those got a typical market that, on top of the great development team, great legal team, great project, and experienced developer, was selecting the market that geographically where the project located at. It's pretty strong, right? So same thing with California. If California from San Jose to San Diego to Long Beach, it's California alone. How is that? It become one of the leading country in the world, right? Yeah. Larger than United Kingdom or Germany, right, in terms of economic, right? and if you take and that what the market in United States is, right?
Yeah.
So that really strong, right? So it John, from the regional center, in terms of can you say why this regional center, right? Who are we here?
Well, we provide real estate opportunities in the United States, and specifically in the West Coast marketplace. We bring EB-5 investors together with legal professionals, with developers, and with communities to make sure that the investors can obtain a green card. And then we ensure that the projects get built. When we work with the developer, we make sure that we control the development enough to make sure that we control all of the pieces that put things together to make sure that our investors are protected and the development is built, the green cards are issued.
And I just want to add on that, John, because that's a very crucial point that investors need to understand when they're selecting a particular project or a particular location they want to invest in, is that they want to make sure that that project is truly going to become viable. Okay, it has to be a proven concept. It has to be a proven team. It has to have a team that has the fundamentals, the structure, infrastructure in place to ensure or at least mitigate as much risk as possible for the investors and the project itself. Because if that project does not ultimately become successful, then the benefits don't follow along with that. So I think that's a great point that you bring up. It's very key for investors to understand that, and very important for them to consider when they're selecting which area they want to invest in, which team they want to work with, which regional center they want to be a part of. So that's very important.
Thank you, Kan. Thank you, John, bringing some great input into the program. And the thing here that we assure that the development project, the one that you invested in to get your U.S. citizenship and get the return, we make sure that your money is put to work in the highest and the best use. But most importantly, it comply with the U.S. CIS government requirement to get U.S. visa, right, Kan?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah. So the a little bit about this here that I came from Vietnam. My father is U.S. Marine in Vietnam during the Vietnam War, and Kan and his family probably the same thing with Mike.
Very similar. We have very similar stories.
Right.
My father was also in the military in Vietnam during the war. So we have very similar history and background, and we understand the value and all it's a dream to come to a place like the U.S., right? Because it offers so much. It offers the freedom, right? The opportunities. Okay, as long as you are a go-getter and you're motivated and you're inspired here, you will have the opportunity here. And I think that's a big draw for a lot of people from, a lot of families from other countries, not just Asia, but countries around the world. They see the U.S. as a dream, a goal that they want their children to be able to get the best education, the best opportunities available to them. So yeah, Michael and I share a lot of the same stories, and it's fantastic to see all his success through the years as well. And now we have great partners like John. So we're putting together something special, something to really help others achieve their dreams as well.
Thank you, Kan. And there are over, since 1975, there are over 2 million Vietnamese that migrate to the U.S., yeah. Right? And so, we wanted to be able to build on that success. United States is the country of immigrant.
Yeah.
And, our founding father coming from different parts of the world, yeah. Coming to the U.S. during the 18th century, mostly coming from Europe and Africa.
Yeah.
That's why we have the Statue of Liberty in the harbor of New York, right?
That's right.
But today, U.S. Asia Pacific, today 95% plus immigrant come to the United States. It's coming from Asia, right? So the other day I have a joke with John. I said, why don't we build another Statue of Liberty in Alki Beach? That would
bigger
be
one.
that would be for the Pacific.
That's right.
Right,
That's
get the
right.
Pacific. That's where all the Asian investor come. That's the pathway for them to come to the United States.
Well, and Michael,
Yeah.
you shared with me earlier. What was your projected goal in terms of how many, applicants you want to achieve here in the next 5 years? That this program is good.
We're excited, and we're excited you asking that question because our goal from the program is be able to help to make a strong positive impact in the community here by creating more jobs, municipality taxes, and housing. Right, not only doing just one municipality, we helping other municipality in the U.S. to do the same thing. For example, in Seattle, we have $1.7 billion, EB-5 funding that helping fund all this community
Absolutely.
development program. It doesn't mean that Las Vegas, or city of other city municipality can duplicate the success of Seattle. What we do here, that's why we bring in the education program. But the Vietnam alone, last 45 plus years, the migration over here is over 2 million people.
Right.
So our goal from the regional center in the next 5 years is to help to bring in 10,000 entrepreneurs, and then with the capital, with the intellectual that will be invested in the market, think about how much American dream can realize, how much job that we can create, and how much positive impact we can make in our community here without the taxpayer to do that, right?
Correct.
But to do all that, John, I wanted to get back to you about the mission of what we do here, John. Can you share with us, 10,000 visa, 10,000 entrepreneurs coming to the U.S. through the employment base category number 5, which is EB-5, right?
Right.
But that mission. Thanks, Gan, that you can add that question, but I just couldn't stop myself, so maybe I said to be quiet, let John to share about that mission.
Our mission is to deliver superior EB-5 projects for foreign nationals to obtain their green cards. So again, we choose the best projects that we can find, the projects that are clean and solid with a developer that has done it before. We want to provide and promote economic growth in each community that we go to that is solid growth that comes from investment. We want to establish a multicultural community. We know that the United States' strength is in multicultural people coming from different areas, from different parts of each country, and all different countries together. That's what makes us so strong. And then we particularly focus on real estate development projects because that's what Michael's done for the last 24 years. So we know those projects inside and out, and we can make sure that they're successful and that they will provide the jobs and they'll provide the economic growth in each region.
Thank you, John. Thank you. And I think that the key there is that by itself it's very meaningful business that we provide, not just in investing. This is the investment from the heart. This is the investment of the integrity. That what we do, right? So John, can you some of us reviewing, watching this program, and learning some great golden nugget today. From Khan, is one of our top immigration attorney, one of our top immigration and business attorney, and John from the regional center. So how the people can get contact with us to filing? Because actually legally we started to file for the EB-5 indirect since yesterday, June 25th. How do the people contact us right now?
Well, the best way is to email us at eb5@usasiapacific.com. But really, one of the best ways is to talk to the person that pointed you to this video. Talk to your broker and let them walk you through the process with us so that we can make sure that everything is done properly and we can make sure that your visa program, your visa, goes through smoothly and cleanly. The process starts with that phone call. It starts with you talking to our attorneys and filling out the paperwork, and it's pretty easy from there forward.
And we also have a 10 days USA investment tour, right? We're starting that in August 24. But I think we can only allow up to 30 family, 30 case. So right now we almost sold out for the August trip to the US, right? So one of the trips to the US would be, come to Seattle, come to our headquarters here, beautiful Seattle. Yeah. Stay at our 5-star hotel next door. We also located like 5 minutes away from the international airport. That's where most of the direct flight from, we're talking about like,
absolutely,
Cathay Pacific and Japan and Asiana Airline, EVA, including Vietnam Airline, is starting to fly directly from here to Asia, right? So coming in here, then we're gonna have a day that we're gonna spend it out with our development team, our project team, just learning about the project, get on the bus, go out there and tour the property, tour all the 17 EB-5 investment deal that we done, that we completed, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and also see some going out there and look at your American dream home, and also talking to our lender about getting your 70% loan to value so that you can buy your home while you're here.
That's right.
So also have a chance to come in here, spend the seminar with our top immigration and business lawyer that learn how to invest, right? Do your due diligence, right? Also go and tour our University of Washington, University UCLA, and some of the top school here that you send your children to, and have a chance to mingle in and spending time with our community, like Vietnamese community here, so learn about the culture, learn about job opportunity, learn about education opportunity, right? Yeah. And learn where to find good pho, in the area. Just kidding. But then everybody wanted to know, if I'm gonna go to the U.S. for 10 days, we spend 3 days in Seattle, go to do all that for ourselves, right? And then we also go to Orange County to visit our, Hilton project, our hotel project, our investment project. There we also spending the time with the community there, with over 1.4 million Vietnamese that living in that part of the country, so that the newcomer, the immigrant, that can come and meet with the community here. But then everybody wanted to go to Las Vegas, right? So you save the best for last. Right?
Right.
Your office in Las Vegas, right?
That's right.
So can you share like what can you do? Like you can show some of our foreign investors to come into the U.S. and we save the best for last.
Sure.
We're gonna spend 2 days in Las Vegas for everybody to enjoy.
I think nobody is a stranger to Las Vegas and what Las Vegas has to offer. It's the number one tourist attraction in the world every single year. More visitors come to Las Vegas every single year than any other destination in the world. And there's a good reason for that. Las Vegas has gone through a lot of changes over the last couple of decades. It's really converted from a gambling town to now a global entertainment center. Okay, you have world-class dining. You have world-class shows. There is no bad show that you can see in Vegas. I will attest to that. Michelin star chefs, Michelin star restaurants, entertainment, everything for the family. Now the focus is on. I mean, it is just one of those places that it has to be on your bucket list of things to do. It has to be on your bucket list of places to visit and see, and hopefully, maybe even invest in Las Vegas, but invest in the right way. Don't pay the electric bills over there. But Las Vegas is an amazing city. It is the number one destination for anybody coming to the U.S. If you come to the U.S. and you don't stop by Las Vegas, it's a wasted trip. I have to put it that way.
I would agree with that.
Yes.
But when they say that what happened in Vegas,
We'll stay in Vegas.
Stay in Vegas. Today is a great day. The second day that U.S. government allow for the foreign investor to file in the regional center program.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to the next 5 year helping the investor to come to the United States. And on behalf of our team, I wanted to thank you for taking the time from your schedule to watching this program today, and I hope you learned a lot. And if you have any question, you can always contact us directly through WhatsApp, to Yellow, or phone call, or send us an email. Visit our website, right? So with that, I wanted to thank everybody, for tuning in today. And if you like what you hear, gotta hit the subscribe button at the end of the screen here. And we are coming to Vietnam. From July 1st to July 10th in the month of August. I'm sorry, for the month of July. But then we're gonna have August and September throughout the end of the year. We there to assisting you and helping you by moving closer to America. So with that, thank you very much for tuning in today. Have a great one.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, John, and we look forward to meeting you soon. Thank you.